We finally figured her out. My name is Shonen Ouji, here to dig deeper into your favorite anime and manga. In this video, I'll be continuing my review of the Demon Slayer anime. So, with that out of the way, let's start this review of episode 24. So, right off the bat, I need to talk about the scene at the end with Tanjiro and Shinobu. I have to be honest, I don't completely buy it. This is a show where everyone has a hashtag tragic backstory, but something about Shinobu. Now, I get it. She's everyone's favorite waifu. She's everyone's favorite girl. I get that. But she has been flip-flopping so much. And if you watch my previous reviews, you'll see that it's kind of annoying how she goes from like, kill all the demons to, oh, let's be friends with the demons. And she completely disrespected Nezuko. Now, we find out, or supposedly we find out, that her big sister was killed by demons. And that's why she wants to slaughter them all. But she puts on this facade of, like, being tender towards them and trying to be friends with them. And we see that she passes on this dream of hers to follow her sister's footsteps. She passes it on to Tanjiro. She's like, oh, I'm exhausted. And that kind of line, too, I was like, you're exhausted? Really? Like, how hard did you try? You killed the one demon. You, like, pretended to be nice for, like, 2 seconds. And then you chased Nezuko and didn't even, like, go through that whole thing of, like, oh, we're gonna slice your stomach open and blah, blah. You didn't even do that. You just tried to cut Nezuko's head off. So what are you exhausted about? You've barely even tried to be nice. Like, is it really that hard to do your little smile? So, while it wasn't a horrible moment for her backstory. It's just with all the crap that we went through with her previously, I'm hesitant to buy her story. Not necessarily that it's untrue, but if I was Tanjiro, I'd be like, are you kidding me? You almost killed my sister. And I get that she's not the only one. All the other Hashira wanted her dead on the spot. But the thing with Shinobu is she gave this, like, really poor act of, like, we're going to be trying nice to them. So, other than that, this wasn't a completely crappy scene for me. I do want to point out that there's this theme of Tanjiro carrying the wishes of everyone around him and carrying the wishes of the past on his back. A really good example of this was when he was training and he was visited by the ghosts of the two kids who had trained under Urukadaki, and now we're seeing it with Shinobu giving her dream to Tanjiro. So we see that Tanjiro is acting on behalf of everyone who has been affected by the demons. And we saw this a bit with the Hashira too, where they're kind of almost rooting for him. They were hesitant to buy the whole Nezuko thing, but only because of all the trauma they've probably seen. So, in the back of their minds, everyone is rooting for Tanjiro, even though they don't immediately think that it's possible that someone could actually be, like, loving to a demon. And we see that Tanjiro, even though he has a lot of people that he looks up to, a lot of people, in fact, are looking up to Tanjiro. And now I have to talk about the boy trio in this whole training scene. This was by far the funniest episode out of the entire season. And what I liked, there were a lot of things I liked about this whole training thing, specifically with the trio. Not exactly with Tanjiro, but specifically with the trio. What I liked about this firsthand was that it kind of snapped Tanjiro and Inosuke like out of their like little depression they were going through, because they were all bummed out that they were out of shape and that they had to go through this really hard training. And they bring Zenitsu with them, and Zenitsu's like, oh, this is gonna suck. And then he shows up, he sees what they're doing, pulls them outside, and he has what I deemed a Sanji moment, i.e. Sanji from One Piece. The second time I watched this episode, I realized this was exactly like any moment where Luffy gets to hang out with hot girls, or Zoro, or put in your character, and Sanji finds out, and Sanji flips out. This is Zenitsu's thing. We saw this with Nezuko, but now we're seeing it again. And he flips out. He's like, you guys are complaining. Look at what you get to do. Now, one thing I have to say about this, and again, it didn't occur to me until my second time watching this. The two girls are about their age. But the three little girls, he seemed to be having maybe a little too much fun. Now, I get it. It's anime. But it bothers me a little bit. I could get if he's not like attracted to the girl, like the three little girls, and it's just like platonic. But the thought occurred to me that was a little creepy. But nobody said Zenitsu wasn't creepy when it came to his deal with girls. But either way, that whole thing with Zenitsu roasting Inosuke about girls, and then snapping Inosuke and Tanjiro out of their little depression, I thought the whole thing was absolutely hilarious. One more thing that I need to talk about is the scene with Tanjiro and the three little girls. Again, I think these three little girls were really, really cute, and they like help add a dynamic to the cast, because we have kind of a sausage fest, so it was nice to like change it up. But I have to say, why the hell did Tanjiro get told how to like get stronger? In all his training, Orokodaki never told him the answer to how to get stronger. He told him the techniques, but then he was like, all right, go figure it out. Let him go in the woods and figure it out. And then he's here, and they're like, oh, you need to get stronger. And they let him like mess around a bit. And then the three little girls tell him the freaking answer to the quiz. Don't get me wrong. It's great that Tanjiro can get stronger, but really, like, they just told him the answer. I get that they're little girls, but like, they really told him the answer. I don't know. It didn't ruin it for me, but I was like, we couldn't have got a moment where he's like, oh, I figured it out. Like, oh, cool. All right. Thanks for telling me. But nonetheless, this was a really good episode. But that is going to do it for this review, because again, this is a lighter episode as we're reaching the end, so not a lot is going on. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it. Make sure to subscribe so you can see my other videos. Follow me on Twitter so that you can reach out to me. Thank you for listening, and I hope to hear from you soon.